it seems they use them as a romantic boat. And she said, two get lost in the swamps and they come back three. Says. So this is for transportation. They call them taxi. What's coming next?
Aga mas moderno ke humana katake. Ukat hat anyanya ka. Aga islata ma islaro. Humana katak suti pa Mercedes Benz ma huma pasit apat ma agat ma experience apat dito.
So, yeah. So the fancy boat, a modern boat, is represented to the large reed boats you've seen around, the big ones, and they call them Mercedes Benz. Fancy boats. And they hold like 20, 30 people like that. As she says, the boat for the island holds 40 people. Here.
Wow.
So they are large ones. But nowadays they don't use them much for themselves anymore. Before 1980s, they used these large reed boats because on the mainland there were some few markets to exchange products. So these people used to get some resources from the lake, like fish, bird eggs, or the reed, the edible part of the reed. And the whole families used to go for shopping to the markets. And from the mainland used to come back with a lot of potatoes, beans, grains, so many things. So, but nowadays, the only marketplace for these people is Puno City. And in Puno, they don't want, they are not interested in products from here. They are interested in money. So in the beginning, it was difficult to make some trade in the city. But nowadays, they used to a little bit. Since this area became a protected area, they have some restrictions to get resources from this area. For example, they keep on collecting bird eggs, but only for themselves, not to make money, for example. So nowadays they have them as a decoration, as an important mean of transportation, but not for long distance. Nowadays they have row boats, wooden boats. They are much faster ones, right? So these ones are much slower, of course. Okay, this is Mercedes Benz. Okay, what's coming next? It's nearly complete, our island, right? What's next? This is a question for you, sis. So it looks all finished, right? But there's one very important stuff missed here. What might it be?
A temple.
Temple, we can live without temple.
A toilet.
Yeah. House is very important, right? For any family. House is very important. Kitchen place is very important as well.
Toilet.
And transportation as well.
Toilet.
Baños, dice. They have toilets, but it's not very important. Toilets, talking about toilets. Toilet is out from the island. They need to go by boat. So people go by boat, about 2 minutes. But if you see somebody rowing quicker, it's in a hurry. And out there, how is the toilet set out there? This material, they have the thickest possible, floating in the water, and they make like a septic hole into this material. It's like a bucket, natural bucket, and that's like a toilet. And it's not a proper booth, it's just sheltered by the reeds. And this material is filtering all the human waste from inside. It's the reason why we don't see much pollution around here, in this channel at least. But there's something important. Let me help you. This is finished. It's floating, right? It's like a boat. Anchor.
An anchor, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Anchors is very important, the anchors, you know, that's to keep in the same location. So, how do they anchor? So, the anchor works like this. As you can see, there's a rope from the island, like this. There's a rope. The island might be located, I don't know, maybe 10 feet deep at least, because remember, for these people it's very important to keep the island floating. When the bottom of the island touches the ground, it's a serious problem for these people. They cannot move. Any misunderstanding or disagreement, they cannot move the island. They couldn't cut off the island, right? So it's important to keep the island floating. So if the thickness of the island is like 7 feet, so the water must be at least 10 feet deep water around here, right? So it's like a boat, and there's a rope, and yeah, just
Aga kunat aga nanat ucap toha, uga ka aga tatap kate, aga wili do aga kinan tayak uga kinan. Lancha nagar normal aga pas nak.
okay. Is
Tuptas ki mai thayo ta ausa tupti wa. But ausa nana unra dite mai lancha uga elisa parsia. Which haki. Uga uga han uga susite nya to kinan tayak.
okay. It's important to keep some stones in the middle part of the ropes, because they are to keep the ropes inside. And according how is the condition, I mean the wind, for example, this island might be pushed away, and this rope comes out because it's very well tight, tends to be tight, and comes out to the surface. And for boats may not be good system, so they're checking all the time. So in general, the rope begins from the island, and this tree trunk is planted in shallow water. On the distance, I was telling you that in the swamps, the water is like
Maya pamit dun uga
3 feet, 3 feet or 2 feet shallow water. Around there is planted this tree trunk, and it's the reason why they don't need to dive to plant this tree trunk. They plant them from the boat. So just the rope might be very long one. I mean, not very long here behind, because the shallow water is not far from here, right? Might be a lot farther to the other side. You can see the water here in front is quite a big channel, and one rope from this island is going under the water, under the islands in front, to the shallow water on the other side. So it's
aga
quite a lot.
islaha tumka angklan.
She says they have 10 anchors for this island. So it's very well secured in the same location, right? Okay, that's how the island was set in this location, my friend. So you already know how is the construction of one island, so you can do your island at home. Okay. So, I got the corner spot, Paga.
Hal uga ki.
Okay, that's it, my friends. And you already know. Next, I want to tell you, what do they eat? Okay, what do they eat? You know, they live in the waters, and that means fish must be the main diet. But what sort of fish? So, native fish in Lake Titicaca are small ones, and the smallest species is like 2 inches long. Muite. Is showing you the lady. That's the very popular fish in Lake Titicaca. The name of the fish is harachi, and that's the size. They don't grow much bigger, as you can see, like 4 inches, 5 inches might be maximum, the biggest one. And they tend to be much wider, and they usually get much stronger scales, and not popular for visitors, only for local people, because for eating you need to be very patient. It has a lot of bones, very small meat. Yeah, it's very tasty, of course. And the biggest native fish we may have in Lake Titicaca is like 1 foot long. I mean, native fish. A sort of catfish. A sort of catfish. And we have some other fish, foreign fish. They are the trout and the kingfish. They may grow much bigger, of course. And what else?
They look like tilapia.
Okay, I was telling you before, they eat the reeds, right? They eat the white part of the reeds. Looks like onion from the distance, but doesn't taste to onion, far to onion. It's maybe a little like a white part of the lettuce, like a lettuce, yeah.
More like leeks.
A little celery. It's dirty, the top part, and the next ones we eat them. It tastes too chicken.
Everything tastes like chicken.
It's okay. It's the reason why even as a little boy or girl, 1 year old, is already eating this. It's fiber. It's okay. It's not very sweet. It's not sweet. So they eat only the white part. It contains calcium and iodine. Calcium, you know, is good for the bones, for the teeth. So these people never brush the teeth, even the earlier generations never did. So they keep complete teeth for the whole their lives. So that's the size. This is a relatively small reed because they might be like 9 feet tall, like that. It's a small reed. So, and what else? In the very top part, there are some. They call them flowers. It's full of seeds. Is the reason why a lot of mice comes into the swampy area. They eat the seeds of this, and they boil in a tea, or they boil it and drink. They say it's good for headache or for stomach problems as well. So this is to avoid to row fast in the boats, to the toilet. It helps a lot. Yeah. Okay. What else? They eat eggs. They eat eggs, of course, but very limited. They still hunting the ducks. Oh. Some few people are using this. Still are using some traps to get the ducks from the swampy area. But this is interesting because it was handmade. As you can see, this is a water pipe, eucalyptus wood, some soldering work here. So it's working good. But people are not confident about this because it caused accidents. It blew and caused the eye accidents. And it's the reason why very few of these people are hunting with this gun. This is not working particular, and it doesn't work anymore. And they collect some bird eggs like this.
What kind of bird eggs are those?
This is the Puna ibis duck, the biggest one. Is the egg, or the biggest one is the small duck. Maybe you've seen on the shore the ducks with some blue beaks. They are males. This is a female. The same species makes this. And there are some big black birds, the coots, the giant coots, makes smaller eggs like this. So they collect them, and only for themselves. So like this, they dry the meat. They dry them with salt. The procedure is the same to jerkies, the beef jerky, and they store in the storage for a couple of years. They've learned to do this for drought years, but nowadays drought years we can manage the drought years. Nowadays for the taste is so good. At least they don't eat straight. They cook in a soup, usually in a soup, but people on the Andes usually boil it for over 1 hour, a soup. So the ingredients in the soup are melting all together, like a cream like that. So it's so good to eat the soup here, because the fuel is for free as well. It's the reason why they boil it for such a long time. So as you can see from the distance, or much later you can see, so some few dried ducks like this, they keep them in storage. This is an tiny bird, the grebe, which the bird doesn't fly, the grebe as well, the small. And they dry them some fish as well. The distance you can see, the dried fish. This is another native species of fish, tiny one. This is the size all the time. The adult one is this size. So usually the fresh ones we fry them. It's very crunchy, very good, with salt. So that's, they are the trout as well. A little bigger is a young trout. Usually they grow much bigger, and trouts we have them into fish farms usually. Look it. Okay, that's what they eat, the resources from the lake. But they get, of course, they eat some potatoes, beans, some other things. But nowadays, she wants to show us. They eat from the mainland some barley and some quinoa as well. You've seen quinoa. And what else? They eat some dried potatoes, dehydrated potatoes here. I'm sure you've seen the white and brown colors, and they make it from the main